All right. Welcome to my draft summary for the LBC. This is my second time playing in this league. I was a replacement coach. I have two videos on this channel for my battles from last season. You can check those out. I'll put a link in the corner thingy for one of them. The format, really quick, is National Dex Terra banned, which means no Terra. There's also no Z moves, and Megas are allowed. If you draft a Mega, the Pokemon has to be holding the stone, so that you can't draft Mega Gallade and then run Gallade with the Choice Scarf. So let's get into the draft. Now, I was spot number 9 out of 18, which is the worst spot. I think objectively, you could not pick a worse spot in the draft if you tried. So I was very, very shocked that I got my second option. My first option was Chin Pao, and that was taken first pick, so that didn't pan out. But my second option was what I got, and that was Palafin. Now this thing is insanely strong. I don't know how it dropped to 9th pick, to be honest. It obviously, you look at the attack stat, that thing's crazy. You've got Jet Punch, which is an extremely strong priority move to utilize that 160 base attack, and solid natural bulk. 100 HP and then 97 and 87 ain't bad. Solid special attack as well, and speed, obviously pretty good. This Pokemon is very strong, firing off the strongest flip turn in the game. Wave Crash is crazy. Jet Punch as well, like I said, and also gets some decent fighting coverage, which is nice. So in a Palafin draft, what you want something to threaten bulky water types, because those are the most common checks to Palafin. So for my next pick, I got something that I am very shocked dropped as low as it did to the second round, halfway through the second round, and that is Shaman Sky. Now this thing is usually not allowed in drafts. I am shocked that it's allowed in this one, because this thing is ridiculous. Serene Grace gives Seed Flare an 80% chance to harshly lower the opponent's special defense. Seed Flare is a 120 base power grass special move, which is ridiculous. That's a Mega Horn, basically. And it also has an 80% chance to double the damage of my next move. That's ridiculous. And also, Togekiss and Jirachi, very similar to them. It's got the Serene Grace Air Slash for that nice 60% chance to flinch. Leech Seed as well, substitute for some nice, sub-Leech Seed stuff. Earth Power for nice coverage, and Healing Wish as well for some team support. This and Palafin go together very well, because they both kind of threaten the thing that checks the other one. So Palafin is checked by bulky waters and faster Pokemon, things that outspeed it, usually. Jet Punch helps with that, but it's not as strong as some of its other moves. So in Palafin teams, you kind of want something a little bit faster that can threaten those things. And we have that in Seed Flare. Seed Flare threatens the bulky waters. It also threatens the physical walls that Palafin checks. They really don't want to eat that Seed Flare. And Shaman, on the other hand, is checked by Steel types, Ice types, and Fire types. Ice types more offensively. Palafin is a good defensive Ice switch-in. Steel types, it takes care of those with its fighting type moves. And obviously the Fire types are threatened by water. So just at the start, we had a very solid core going. Two things that complement each other very well. Very good mixed offenses of the special attack and physical attack, and a pretty decent speed tier. So, next up, to complete the Firewater Grass core, I think probably the strongest Firewater Grass core out of any of the drafts, we've got Heatran. And this thing is very, very strong. It goes together with my other two extremely well. Now, this thing is great with Shaman specifically. Shaman switches into ground, which Heatran doesn't like. Heatran switches into ice, which Shaman doesn't like. Heatran is not weak to rock, which is very nice because Shaman is. Heatran can trap the bulky steels that Shaman doesn't like dealing with Magma Storm. It also goes together very well with Palafin, because Palafin checks the ground types. Shaman does that as well. And this thing is just a solid overall Pokemon. Magma Storm, like we already mentioned, spreading burns with Flame Body and Will-O-Wisp, and then solid coverage as well as Stealth Rocks, and then great stats across the board. Nothing really to complain about here. Heatran is an extremely solid Pokemon, and I'm very, very excited to see how it does. Next up, my team is a bit light on pivoting. Usually go heavier than most people on pivoting in my drafts because that's just how I like to play. It's the style of team that I really enjoy building and the style of team that I really enjoy playing. And I wanted a Volt Switcher because my top two Pokemon really threaten ground types. They threaten them extremely hard with Palafin's water moves and Shaman's grass moves. So I want something able to take advantage of ground types not being around. And I got that with Iron Hands. Now, Iron Hands is a crazy bulky Pokemon. Also helpful for Palafin because Palafin needs to basically switch out. And I need something to switch in for Palafin and take that hit. And for that, you need a lot of bulk. And Iron Hand helps with that. We've got Volt Switch, obviously, for pivoting. And then this thing is just a solid physical breaker. We've got Drain Punch, Heavy Slam, Ice Punch, Thunder Punch, and Sword Stance to boost all of my physical attacks. This thing is very, very strong, very, very bulky, hard to kill, and gets me a free switch into a lot of my more offensive teammates. Like I said, the ground types being checked by Palafin and Shaman really, really helps this thing because it means I can just click Volt Switch and not have to worry about it getting blocked, or I have a much easier time removing ground types if they do show up. Next up, I wanted a hazard setter because I don't have a spiker right now, and spikes are really important in draft. And I got one of the better spikers, I would say, especially for a pretty low price point. This was like low to mid. Palafin was 19 points and this thing was 12. I got Deoxys Defense. Now this thing is very versatile. This thing can do so many different things because it's got that crazy big Deoxys move pool with Spike, Stealth Rock, Recover, Teleport, Thunder Wave, Knockoff, Nightshade, and then dual screens, and so many other things. I could spend like 2 minutes just listing out all of the different things it can do. And this thing, first thing you notice is the crazy big defenses. This thing is very bulky, especially with just max HP. I don't even need to put that much in defense to take a hit. And if I do decide to put that much in defense, this thing is not going down, especially with Recover and Teleport to get in my more offensive teammates, Hazards to support my my breakers, and Thunder Wave to provide some speed control. This thing is going to do very well with all of my offensive mons, like Shaman, Palafin, Heatran occasionally, and some of the others that I'll draft more down the line. Next up, my team was lacking seriously in the hazard removal department. I have 0 hazard removal. Shaman doesn't even get defog, so I needed to fix that up fast. And I did that with Cyclizar. Cyclizar is the next part of my Dragon Steel Fairy Core. I have the Steel and Heatran. It just fits a lot of what I need. I need some more pivoting. I need fast mons. I need hazard removal. I needed knockoff because I think Covert Cloak is going to be a very common item into me because of Shaman and Heatran. So I want to be able to remove those items. And this thing is just a solid mon. Very good pivot. Can do some stuff with shift gear. Gets really, really good coverage. And, great assault vest user. And just solid value. Great rapid spinner. Pretty much what I wanted. Also gives me a ghost immunity, which is very nice. Very solid mon. Excited to use it. Think it's gonna do good for me this season. Now, those of you who know about draft leagues notice that I'm lacking in one key specific thing that you need. That's a grounded poison type. And I got my grounded poison type and the last part of my Dragon Steel Fairy Core in Galarian Weezing. This thing is super versatile. It's a very, very strong physical wall. It's got levitate for ground immunity, which is very nice. Neutralizing gas can get rid of some annoying abilities like regenerator or tough claws or anything else really. And Misty Surge is even very useful for my team because Palafin does not like being statused at all. And having the Misty Surge up can also help with that. A lot of different things that I can use that for. And it also gets defog, which I really, really need because as of this point, my only hazard removal was Cyclizar. So I need some defoggers. And this is a pretty solid one. Just a very annoying mon to break. This thing can wall entire teams because after Levitate, its only weaknesses are Steel and Psychic, which are not the most common. Decent fairy type, very bulky with Pain Split, can spread Will-O-Wisp, and can set and remove Toxic Spikes. I do have to be careful because Levitate makes it so I can't remove Toxic Spikes, but I do have other methods of hazard removal, and if I need it to remove Toxic Spikes, I can just use one of its other great abilities and not worry about it. So yeah, very, very, very solid mon. Great fairy type. Pretty much fits into my draft about as well as you could want anything to. Next up, I wanted another method of hazard removal, and I wanted a ghost type. And I got that in Rotom. Now this thing is very, very underrated, I think. It's got a lot of immunities, a lot of very good resistances. Defog is very nice, Thunderwave and Volt Switch as well. Volt Switch is great here because my top 2 picks threaten ground types for the same reason as Iron Hands is very good. We can do some stuff with Trick. This is a very good choice Scarfer, and dual screens as well. Now, I'm also missing another key thing you need in draft, and that is a ground type, because you really, really do not want to get Volt Switched on. And I got a really great budget ground type. That was Piloswine. Piloswine may not look that bulky, but once it gets an Eviolite, its solid natural HP and pretty okay defenses go very, very high. You would be surprised how many hits this thing can take. It also has 2 great abilities in Thick Fat and Oblivious. Oblivious making us immune to taunt, so we can't get taunted out of Stealth Rocks, and Thick Fat giving us a fire neutrality and an ice resistance, which is extremely helpful. We get Stealth Rock, a very strong Ice Shard. Our base 100 attack is certainly not bad. Strong Stab Earthquake as well, and then we get Roar and Curse, which are very helpful for either setting up or preventing someone else from setting up. Piloswine is a very, very good budget Pokemon, and maybe, might be able to pull off something with Curse this season. We'll see what happens. Now, last, I only had 1 point left, and I got a pretty decent budget Pokemon. This thing has been in my on my radar for a couple leagues, and I didn't pick it up because there was something else that I preferred. But in this league, I ended up taking Shroodle. This thing is only useful for one thing, and that thing is its ability Prankster. With Prankster, we can take advantage of some of our status moves to get priority and do some very annoying things. We've got Prankster Encore, Prankster Parting Shot, Prankster Toxic, and Prankster Switcheroo. That's pretty much all this thing does, which is not bad. I mean, I'm not really drafting it for its ability to take hits or do damage. I'm drafting it because it lets me spend my points on other very, very strong mons. It lets me kind of front load my draft a little bit. And I'm completely fine with that. I think my draft is extremely strong, and the drawback of having a 10th Pokemon that's not so great is something I'm definitely willing to deal with. So yeah, that's the team. I'm very, very happy with it. I think it's very strong. It's exactly the type of style that I like playing, which is very pivot heavy, very bulky, with some solid offense that likes taking advantage of a free switch. And I'm very excited. I think my team is going to do great this season. And I'm happy with the draft. I'm happy with the work that I put into making this draft. And I'll see you guys in the battles. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you think of the draft in the comments. I'm interested to see. I think it's a little on the bulkier side, but that's definitely something that I like. So I'm interested to see what people have to say about this. I think I'm not being too forward in saying this is one of, if not the strongest teams in this league. So, we'll see. I'll have to back that up in my battles a little bit. But I'm definitely looking forward to doing that. I'm willing to do it. So, I'll see you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later.